Kiri, I don't think most people know that a thing called a cheese school exists.
Right, right, yes. People are often delighted. I hope that's
Delighted.
the look I'm getting, but I think it's delight. I think it's delight that we exist. And we're there to teach people cheese appreciation. So if they're sitting down for a tasting and we take them through the cheeses of France or goat's milk cheeses and sheep's milk cheeses or whatever the class is, hopefully we're teaching them, we're giving them a new appreciation for cheese and giving them a little bit of information to be armed with when they go to the supermarket or they go to their cheese shop and they're not just overwhelmed by 200 different kinds of cheese. And not intimidated.
Right, that confidence is a big thing in cheese.
It's a big thing, it's a big thing. The other thing we offer are certainly our cheese making classes, which you are.
Which I teach.
Which you teach.
And
and my perspective on that, and I'd be really interested in hearing yours, is that people can do these things at home, certainly, like any recipe. But there are lots of variables. There's a degree of chemistry that is maybe not always there when you're, making chili at home or making pancakes at home. And certainly when you're making a cheese that requires months of aging, it's tragic when you start off and it doesn't, it looks like it's come together and then you try it months down the road and it hasn't come together. Or even if you've invested all that time into making something like mozzarella and it doesn't work.
What you're saying is there is a place for cheese appreciation.
Yes.
And complementing that is knowledge of how cheese is made.
Yes.
Somebody becoming a home cheesemaker, not that they will ever maybe make an exact replica of that, but
right. Yeah, it's giving them a little more knowledge so that they can more successfully do things at home. Or two, they decide, you know what? This is better left to the professionals. I have a new appreciation for buying good cheese.
I think
and I'm gonna do that.
I hear in my classes all the time people say, I think I'm gonna buy cheese. I think they already bought cheese, but I think that's part of the fun of learning how things are made is gaining a reverence for the process.
Absolutely, and I think we do that a lot actually through our various programs at the school, whether it's cheese making or professional education or even our tastings. People often walk away and say, actually, this is not how I'm gonna spend my my time, and instead I'm just gonna say thank you to the people who do it.
So the thing I also noticed, Kiri, is some of my students have this daydream of starting a farm and starting a creamery. They usually work in an office, fluorescent light, and they spend a lot of time wishing they were somewhere else. And it connects to cheese because this is their association with cheese, something gorgeous, something luscious. So they come to one of my cheese making classes at the cheese school, and I think that some of them drop off quickly. They say that was way more work than I realized. But I would say there are others that is the door opening for them. And so for those, they find other tools out there to become a professional cheesemaker. And there's a fair amount of distance between your intro to cheese making class at the cheese school and selling your finished, beautiful, well-aged cheeses at the farmer's market. But it's not an impossible road to walk.
It is not. It is not an impossible road, and I would be so thrilled if people walked that road. But it is probably a year's long walk. So, and our school really gets people started, and it's really for the home cheesemaker. This is not, our school is not for the professional cheesemaker, it's for the home cheesemaker. So the folks who want to start doing things in their kitchen, who want to start with a few pots and pans, and maybe they buy a couple plastic molds online and they get a few cultures and that kind of thing.
Go forward,
That is the cheese school, and that is what we're here for.
Which is important. Because a lot of people, like I'm saying, they're at work and just dreaming, and the cheese school is where the rubber meets the road to the beginning of a dream coming true. So very much. And I always say to students, your #1 job now is to put mileage on your vat. Like if you're serious, if you want to make cheese, start making cheese. Stop thinking about it. Just start making it. And yeah, it starts little, 1 gallon vat, 5 gallon vat. Yeah. But then you and I, we know cheesemakers that started with a 2 gallon vat and away they went.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's certainly not, I can see when it is for somebody because they are somebody who is, after class, they want to go home and make more cheese.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and frankly, I'm not that person. You know, I want to go home and eat cheese and have a glass of wine.
Yeah.
But I'm not firing up my milk again when I get home. So, but it is an important first step to even see if you know, do you like making cheese?
If it fits your style,
you know, I mean, it's not what everybody thinks it is. Yeah. There's a lot of time where you stare at milk warming up, you know, and it's a lot of cleaning and private time and some people really take to that.
So, Carrie, we were saying some people go to the cheese school to drink a great glass of wine, eat a cheese they've never eaten before. Other people go to the cheese school because they want to see if their daydream of being a cheesemaker is meant to be.
Right.
And then other people come to the cheese school, we haven't even talked about this, because they want to be cheese shop owners, right?
Right.
So let's talk about that other sector, that population.
Yeah, so we do a professional program 2 or 3 times a year that's really aimed at people who want to open up a cheese shop. And it's a similar group of people, I'd say, to the folks you described who perhaps have had a very successful career doing something for a larger corporation, or they've had some sort of first career that they've maybe fallen out of love with. And cheese is their other passion, and they spend a lot of time eating it and enjoying it, and they come to us when they are thinking about opening up a cheese shop. So we do a 3-day intensive course that takes them through, you know, everything they need to know about cheese if they're going to be a professional, or at least the basics of what they need to know. So in terms of classification and milk type and just the basic knowledge that people should be working from if they're working as a professional in cheese. And then we also talk to store owners, and we visit a farm, and we learn about pairing with different foods as well as wine, and then we also talk about safety and handling and storage and how to tell when a cheese is past its prime, or maybe it's not past its prime, and what do you do to salvage it?
Yeah.
So things like that. We cover the whole range to get people started on the right foot. And again, some people come out of there and say, actually, I have it good where I am.
Yeah. Life is kind of easy with regular paychecks.
Life is, this is not, those were not the profit margins I had envisioned. So, and I will go back to enjoying cheese on my own time. So, but yeah, that's an important part of what we do. And we've seen a number of cheese shops come out of that class, actually, which is great.
That must feel so fulfilling.
It does. It's really exciting, and everybody has a different version of a cheese shop, which is also really exciting.
Right. Some are bars that have a cheese component. Some are gourmet stores in general.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I just want to ask another question, which is, when people have dreams of becoming cheesemakers or cheese shop owners, like, is that a viable dream? Like, are we sending people, giving them like a false truth? Or is it like, it's really, if you truly deeply want that, it's possible? I'm just from your perspective.
It is possible. It very much is possible. And like I said, we've seen people do it.
Yeah.
And I would say the people who I think are going to be most successful at it, if I am so bold as to say I think somebody's going to be successful at something or somebody might not be.
Yeah.
I think it's the people who come to it with a lot of energy for it. They really have a fire in their belly.
Yeah.
And hopefully there's also a little fire under there. I like to say that you have to have a fire in your belly.
Under their bank account?
No, exactly. It's kind of, no, really, it's a fire in your belly and it's a fire under your butt or your bank account, whichever metaphor you like. Because the fire in your belly is going to take you so far, but you really need to have a sense that, like, I need to bring money in today.
Yeah.
And I think that's true for whether you're a cheesemaker or a cheesemonger.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think I see a number of cheesemakers who think of money last. and the business side of what they're doing last, including the marketing and things like that. And I think, you know, just taking even a little bit of time to talk to a mentor, a professional, before going into any sort of cheese business is really important, because it is not a business that has a great return. It's a beautiful lifestyle.
Yeah, that's good.
And you just have to be prepared to think of it in that way and live your life financially that way.
Yeah, and there's also a place for cheese shop owners and cheesemakers who they've made it through, you know, most of their career, and they've done well, and it's the lifestyle that they want.
Yes.
So it's a little bit of a different goal, but it's an equally valid goal. They want to be able to live on the land. They want to be able to have a wonderful stream of customers that they see every day.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I think they want a deeper attachment to what they do for a living, and really feeling like the separation between, you know, their lives, where their work and their play isn't so broad, and that it is a more holistic lifestyle.
Yeah. It's a noble aspiration. I mean, I feel that myself. I think it's really important. I wish that for everybody, actually.
Right.
I wish a cheese shop for everybody.
Right, yeah.
Not really, but the essence of a cheese shop.
Be good for cheesemakers. There are cheese shops everywhere.
Yeah. So, Kiri, I heard you say the main trip-ups that people, we won't say trip-ups, but maybe curves in the road people run into are one, having it be all dream and no reality. So not thinking of the hard lines of money.
Right.
And in doing that, being lost in the clouds as they go forward. I would say that's probably true cheese shop and cheesemaker, that you can get a little too dreamy.
Right.
Another thing that small scale cheesemakers, I see them go awry maybe early, is that it's hard to imagine how much work stuff will be. And so maybe one of the curves in the road is that people realize a little later than they should have that maybe you shouldn't do it alone. Maybe it isn't meant to be like the one woman powerhouse that does it all.
Right.
Maybe it's meant to be a collaboration, or maybe the better business design is that it sprouts off of another business or complements another business.
Yeah. I think that's key. I think staying open to the possibilities, and that your initial vision is not always the vision that's actually going to get you where you want to go.
Yeah.
So being adaptable in that way, that, you know, maybe I was talking to somebody recently who started selling cheese. They always want to have a shop, but they started selling cheese at farmers markets down in Southern California, and they did maybe 7 different markets, like a lot of different markets. And it was her and her fiance.
Oh yeah.
And
that'll destroy a marriage.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
They still got married.
That'll cut the marriage
They
off.
still got married. But they went around to all these markets, and they could have said, no, our dream is to open up a cheese shop, and we're going to pour our life savings and our SBA loan and all of it into this brick and mortar shop. They decided to just like pack up stuff on the weekend, and in part fund their cheese shop a little bit, at least, with the proceeds from what they got from the farmers markets. And then beyond that, they also got to see, do I like doing this? Which I think is a huge thing, which I think is at the base of what you're saying about how much work it is that I think there are a lot of people who enter into cheesemaking or cheesemongering with very little actual experience doing it. It's all dream. It's all dream. And so just to be patient enough to take 6 months of your life, which is not a lot of time in the grand scheme of things.
And go and work as a monger.
Work as a monger, work on a farm.
Do a WWOOF apprenticeship in France.
See if you like it. See if it's for you. And like this woman did, she went around to all these different farmers markets, and she got a sense of what part of town would be a good area to put her shop. And it was not the part of town that she would have put it in had she not done that, which could be the entire difference between her making a real go of it and not.
Yeah. So what you just said, so you being a little bit more of an expert on opening the cheese shop, and me being a little bit more versed in starting a creamery, I would say keeping an open mind is huge.
Yeah.
And things aren't going to roll out the way you envision them.
Right.
So from the cheesemaker's perspective, that same thing happens with what kind of cheese people make.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people dreamy see this, they have their heart set on triple creme bloomy rind.
Yeah.
And actually, the market might be
Does
saturated. Doesn't need another one. But yet there's
don't give us another triple creme. Yeah.
But yet there's this gaping hole around Latin cheeses, or cotija, or some odd grillable. I mean, there's all these unfilled niches of the cheese world. So the lesson that people learn, and maybe we can teach them if they want, is to stay really open. Yeah. You just don't know how your cheese dream is going to unravel, going to open up.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing, what I've noticed for cheesemakers is that sometimes they don't do a lot of tasting of other cheeses. Like they really want to make that Gouda, and they haven't gone out to 10 different stores and bought all the Gouda they can find to see what's in the market and what does good Gouda taste like.
Yeah. They get a word in their brain.
Yeah. 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 Or they get the one cheese that they love and they really want to do that one cheese. But really asking mongers, asking chefs, what's missing? What do you need? Because oftentimes there are so many places now that want to buy local products. Yeah. And they don't have a local blue. They don't have a local cotija or whatever it is. And so that could be the niche, and that could be the one that, and then maybe, you know,
go from there.
A few years from now, you can go back and make that Gouda. But
I'd say start off with the cheese people have to buy. Yeah. And then later make the cheese that you need to convince them to buy.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
You had one other thing you wanted to add in though, Kiri. What was that?
So I think one other point that's important about being a cheesemaker or a monger, but frankly I see it maybe a little bit more often with cheesemakers, is taking the time to invest in taking a little bit of money to invest in some marketing. And I really mean branding. And it doesn't have to be, don't spend a ton of money, don't hire a market research firm and get some very fancy logo. Yeah. But I think taking the advice of a decent branding person who has food experience, who knows how to make food appetizing, is really important. Not somebody who's just worked on hair products or, something that's not doesn't have to be appetizing. Yeah. But somebody who needs to make it appetizing, and you can do it a variety of ways. A design student who's just trying to build their resume. Crowdsourcing a logo is often an interesting process where you can set your budget and see what comes back. But really taking that time to find something that is a brand and that isn't just something that you scribbled and thought it looked good and you showed it to everybody and they said, yeah, that looks good, because people aren't
going to tell you
the truth on that one, unfortunately. Yeah. And I see a number of cheesemakers who do that, and they just end up with things that are either unappetizing or just not. Yeah. Don't do them any favors.
They don't catch your eye.
They don't catch your eye. And it's becoming a more and more competitive marketplace. So I think spending just a little bit of money on branding is important. Yeah. The other thing that I think is key. So key is to really understand what your obligations are to the state and to the U.S. government. Right. So whether that's building out your creamery and what your county and state want from you, or it's building a shop and what your city and county want from you, right. Or if you're hiring employees, what the U.S. government wants from you, what your state and county want from you. And in this case, spending a little money on an HR advisor, I think is going to save everyone a lot of heartache and money in the long run. And it's hard to do as a small business. Right. It's hard to make those. It's hard to do that. It's hard to part with that money because it's so abstract initially.
And because there's so little of it when you're starting.
And there's so little of it when you're starting out, and you're like, but I'm just two people. But you get caught up in your business and you start running your business and it gets a little traction and then suddenly you have a knock on the door from somebody who you do not want to knock from.
So you're saying, and I agree with you, 90% of the cheese making or cheese mongering work is making sure that everything else around works.
Exactly.
And then if you can do that, you can have your little moment of mongering or making that would just be awesome.
Exactly. That glorious 10% of the time.
Yeah. Well, Kiri, thank you for sharing these cheeses with me. I hope you're going to leave this here so I can eat it for the next 3 hours.
Yes, of course, of course.
But definitely, we want to invite people, right, to come to the cheese school, and I'd love people to come and be in my classes at the cheese school.
Great.
And see if that dream is meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're in San Francisco. We're in the Mission District, and we offer classes that are both public and private. And we're there all the time, so come say hi.
Yeah. Thanks, Kiri.
All right, thank you.
My name's John Taverna. I'm a dairy farmer in Petaluma, California. We're in Sonoma County. I'm here this morning on my farm with my animals, with my dogs. I have Jersey cattle, milk 150 cows twice a day. All their milk is used for cheese production.